We shall be known by the company we keep. Hi there, my name is Tercy Englehart, and I'd like to welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. So, welcome. Whether this is your first time or your 280th, that's how many episodes there actually are on this podcast. Welcome. Grateful that you're here. I love that there's a way that we can share in one another's journeys, even without living next door to each other or even in the same town. So I'm embracing technology and grateful for this opportunity. So, again, I remind you, this isn't about me answering anything. I don't have your answers. I believe that you do. But oftentimes, when people share, we can see or hear something that impacts our life in a positive way and helps us take the next step. And it's my prayer that that's something that you glean from this listening experience. So I hope that happens. I know other people shared, other people still share, and I see or learn something in that sharing. And I'm grateful that they took the risk to let me into their world. Let's see here. So it's been 3 weeks. I just kind of 3 weeks and 2 days since the accident. And just a quick update, I'm continuing to heal both physically and emotionally. The biggest thing physically is really trying to figure out what actually happened, and just my neck from falling on my head when I released my seatbelt upside down. And emotionally, I'd say it's a bit of a roller coaster ride sometimes. I still have this expanded state of grace and peace. And I can see that sometimes I'm battling that my mind doesn't drift off into some form of fear or what if or, yeah. And the fatigue is a little bit challenging. So I still want to get some answers as to that. And I'm just waiting for those tests and test results. So I'll keep you posted. Anyway, in the meantime, I noticed that just like it's good to stay flexible physically, we stretch. And if we don't, we get stiff or tight. We exercise, we try to eat well, we do things that care for ourselves. I also think it's important that we mentally stay flexible. And I would say to the aging community, and while we're all aging, some of us are young enough that you don't feel it yet. But to the aging community, it's like we're well aware that flexibility, both physically and mentally, is important, that it's easy to get kind of stagnant. And this week had me really looking at my routines, and are any of my routines becoming or have they become ruts? So I'll just define those for you a little bit. A routine is an order of doing something that works. And so you keep that routine in place. Like I remember when I was a competitive swimmer, where there was this thing, like, okay, we've got our suit, we've got our nose plug, we've got we'd go through this, da, da, da. You know that I'm a baseball fan. I'm still a fan, even though the Dodgers are struggling right now. And I actually love the announcers and hearing about the routines of the players. And I don't know, maybe sometimes those routines become ruts. I hear that sometimes they switch them up. They change something, like there can be even some superstition, particularly apparently in the dugout or in the pitching crew or whatever, right? And so it had me looking, because we have these puppies, and these puppies are just about 5 weeks old now. And so this morning, was a new routine, because the puppies are getting a little older. One of them was trying to get out of the box where they sleep. And anyway, they got up earlier. And so I switched around when and how I fed them, cleaned them up, got them outside, which impacted when and how I took care of the older dogs, which impacted my own routine in the morning of exercising, stretching, so I can stay physically flexible, and noticing not letting myself get upset or disturbed or about my own routine changing. For if I did, I would say that routine might be becoming a rut. If I start to lose my flexibility, my ability to be with it or be without it, that's real freedom. And if I can't be without it or I can't let it change, if I can't step back and just sort of trust the process, that routine that may have served me really well for even a really long time may just have become a rut. And a rut has a certain stuckness to it. It doesn't really allow you a lot of freedom. You're doing it because that's the way you do it. That's the way you've done it. And oftentimes the ruts don't allow for flexibility. They don't allow for the unexpected, for the surprise. They don't allow for shifts or changes in seasons or times or um, interruptions. And it starts to feel as if your routine is a rut that actually has you, is controlling you, not you have your routine. So I think that's good to look at. I know in early recovery, it was easy to look at those things because I had identified and recognized where I was suffering. I'm actually not committed to suffering, but sometimes when things are going okay, when our routines appear to be working, and they may well be working in supporting you the way your life is. But perhaps there's something new trying to come in, and that routine may be outdated. That routine may not be allowing for something new to come in, some new awareness, some new insight, some new commitment, some new practice, some new person. And if your routine isn't allowing for that, you might, one, miss out. You also may be stuck in a rut and losing some of the freedom and flexibility that you actually do have. Just like if we stay nimble, if we stay flexible physically, we have a range of motion that if someone doesn't stay flexible, they lose that. So consider there's the physical range of motion. There's also a mental, an emotional, a spiritual range of motion. And what's required in order for us to be able to have access to that is that we stay flexible and that we don't get caught in a rut, but are actually willing to shift or create new routines that perhaps serve us in a new way or in a new expression or in a new situation. So let's do that work this week. Let's just look and see. I've been doing that. Let's just look and see what are the routines that we have. You can identify them because you do them over and over again. It's like kind of the same routine when you get up in the morning or when you go to bed at night or the way that you drive to work or to work out or to the beach or um, how you celebrate or even the conversations you have, the shows you watch, the podcasts you listen to, all these things can be routines. But what if? What if that routine may be a rut that's restricting something new, attempting to come in? And if we would shift or be willing to be flexible in that routine and not have it exist more like a rut in our life, what then might be possible? Okay. So see if you can identify your routines and see if you can shift them up a bit. Just try being a little bit more flexible around your routine, even if it's working, because you can let go of or leave or change something that's working, it doesn't have to break down before you shift or change or renew it or revise it. So this week, identify your routines and then see if you can't develop some flexibility around them. All right. And I will be here next week. And I look forward to seeing you then. Have a great week. We shall learn to lead in love.